Welcome, everyone. This is being put on by the Cloud Software Association. If you are not already a member, please go join. There's an amazing Slack community with thousands of people where you can network, ask any questions that are related to partnerships and channel. So highly recommend, if you're not already in there, to go join. My name is Kelly Sarabyn, and I run tech partner enablement and advocacy at HubSpot. And I'm here with Desmond today, super excited. We're going to be talking about partner experience, partner journey, building trust. But Desmond, if you could kind of provide a brief intro so people who don't know you already can kind of understand where you're coming from.
Excellent. Thanks, Kelly. It's great to be here. And first time I'm appearing in one of the Cloud Software Association webinars. So looking forward to covering some really important topics. So I'm Chief Partnership Officer here at Partner Elevate. And Partner Elevate is a learning platform company where we use both online learning and implementation programs to help channel leaders and ecosystem leaders accelerate the impact of their channel partnerships in their ecosystem. And we do this really simply by firstly helping channel leaders programmatically benchmark their partner impact. So benchmark where their partner growth segments are, then importantly, getting those partners moving towards creating demand for their products and solutions. So getting them creating demand in markets. And then it's all about taking this particular motion and then programmatically scaling this through all partner motions that sit within the vendor or the technology distribution partner. So we've had around 1,300 channel partners and ecosystem partners run through our program over the last 3 years in the APAC region, some in the North American region, but a lot to do in the APAC region. Those channel partners are across different organizations. So if you think about the Fortune 500 technology vendors, the key vendors around there, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, and then also global technology distribution companies. We're 3 years in to our journey, and it's been exciting, especially what's happening across partnerships and ecosystem today.
Awesome, and very on point to what we were going to discuss today. So I think to jump into the conversation, would love to really understand what you think of in terms of a definition of the partner experience in partnerships in general, right? There's a lot of confusion around different words and they're kind of tossed around loosely. But when you think about partner experience and I think partner journey, what do those two terms mean for you?
Yeah, look, I think there's been this week, there's been a couple of posts where people are just going, stop putting new terms in front of everyone. Like, let's take the vocabulary that we've got in partnerships and let's just bring it down to the bare minimum. But I'm not going to get into those kinds of conversations.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole new webinar that we're going to have on that. But I think the two concepts around partner experience and partner journey, they independently, but they are related. And for me, when I think about partner experience, I really think partner experience it's the perception that your partners have or they gain of you as they move through your partner program or your partner journey. So it's the experience of your brand that they develop as they work through the tools, as they work with people in your organization, and as they work with the customer success people in your organization, where the partner journey is really the things that they do along the way, which is really the partner journey is more an internal facing for ecosystem leaders. It's the traditional, we're going to recruit them, we're going to onboard them, we're going to enable them, and then we're going to grow them. Not really something that partners think about in their success. But the experience piece is really important because this is the perception that they are developing about the brand as they move through.
Yeah, and I like that you use the word brand. One thing, so my background's in marketing and coming to the partnership world, I've been surprised at how partnership departments and organizations are often not leveraging tools from other departments that have already sort of been built out. And I think part of that is because they're understaffed, right? They don't have the resources or ability to tackle everything at once. But what I'm wondering here is, to what degree are the tools that have been developed around what customer experience is and how to think about customer experience apply to the partner experience?
Yeah, that's a good question or good point, because it kind of comes back to this: if customer experience, who's at the center? The customer, right? I mean, it goes, you put the customer at the center, and everything else revolves around that. When we think about partner experience, I kind of almost feel like we typically don't think about putting the partner at the center. We actually talk about partner experience as the motions or the journey that we're going to take a partner through as they go from onboarding all the way to growing within our organization. And the first thing about this is it's so linear. It seems to be this linear view, and the partner experience and partner journey isn't linear, right? I mean, partners come in, partners go out. Partners don't come in the sausage factory here and out on the other end. They might engage with us. They're trying to identify, well, actually, is this a vendor, or is this a product that I want to use, that I can use? Then they kind of jump out and they start working with other things, and then they come back. And this linear experience kind of gives them this view that they're going to go from step one to step A to step Z, and all the way through, we're going to be working with that particular partner. But we don't actually put the partner experience in the middle of this partner experience and the journey. And really, what we miss out is actually really designing partner programs and the experience around what the partner actually needs.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and the journey is definitely different than the customer journey, right? But you use the word brand, which I think is interesting because to your point about what the experience and the felt experience is, well, let's talk about the value for a second, because one thing that I would say is, right, you have the programmatic elements of what you're doing with your partners, and those might be good or they might be bad. But the concept of having like a brand and an experience that feels good is that the partner is going to choose you when they have similar program terms to choose from, right? So like, if you are competing with another company and your partner program makes partners feel good and they trust you and they get a positive experience from your brand, right? That's going to actually move the needle because they have choices, right? Now, if you offer horrible terms and you're like, we're going to take a 95% rev share off your product and just put it on our website, then that's going to be a no. But is that the value that you see from the business in terms of investing to create a positive partner experience? And are there other values that you see accruing back to the business metrics by investing in the partner experience?
Yeah, definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head there. And there's this competition that we have, and we think about value, and we think about partner choice. And the partners have a lot of choices today. I mean, 35,000 different technology companies across the world that are either using marketplaces or ecosystem or channels to grow and build their business. So you have a lot of choice when it comes to simple tools and simple technologies that you can use. So you're always assessing, well, what's the value that this vendor or this technology provider is going to bring to my business? But I think that there's something a little deeper here, and it's this fact that before a partner walks in through the door, or before you have a conversation with a partner, they've actually already formed a view about you and about what the experience is going to be. And it's usually because they've either worked with another vendor or worked with a technology vendor, and the experience hasn't been that great. As you mentioned, we're just going to take 95% of the rev share. Or there's the scar tissue that's actually developed over time of trust and value being eroded when they work in other partnerships. So they have this formed view, and this comes really close to the brand and the value piece that we've been talking about, and that is this fact that there's this point that I like to talk about called partnership deficit disorder. Now, this isn't a new term. Yeah, actually, it is. I'm bringing in a new term. No, it's a serious
LinkedIn's getting mad at you as we speak. People are posting.
So, John Kaplan from Force Management, they have a framework called Command of the Message, really strong in B2B SaaS companies who are looking to sell on value and increase their revenue in their programs. He's got this term called seller deficit disorder. And the seller deficit disorder kind of follows this path that a buyer coming through a buyer's journey really has two massive frustrations about sellers. The first frustration is they don't understand my business. And the second frustration is they don't listen to me. So when this plays out in a buyer's in a buyer-focused journey where they are assessing their needs and they're assessing risk, they're assessing, is this going to be successful or not? When this kind of plays out, it kind of where you have this you're not listening to me, you don't understand my business, it kind of plays out like you don't know what I need, you sound like everyone else, you are risk, is this going to be a risk to me going down this particular path? But more importantly, I just don't know if I'm going to see success at the end. I can't see what the future actually looks like. And when you take this and you go, well, if that's the experience that buyers have, let's move this into partnerships. And this is where I think about this partnership deficit disorder, is that they follow the same piece. The first kind of, maybe there's 2 points here. The first point is partners do feel, in certainly in my experience in working with vendors or a lot of 1,300 odd partners, is that they definitely do feel they're not being heard when it comes to the vendors really truly understanding their business. And what this kind of is relevance. So what is your relevance to helping this partner be successful? And the second piece is, yes, they're not listening or they don't listen to me, but this is really, what is the value that you provide to me to be successful? So if you think about relevance and value, these two things come together. And if partnership folk aren't thinking about this or don't have a point of view around this, it kind of erodes this trust. It erodes the value that we're actually trying to create when we move the partner through the particular experience.
Yeah, and I think that pulling that over from the sales works incredibly well. So it sounds like one important component of building trust and having a positive partner experience first is making sure you understand your partners, right? Mm-hmm. And what is the best ways today for partner organizations, especially ones who are somewhat strapped for resources, to go out and do that?
To understand their partners. So the biggest challenge is, how do I do this at scale? Because as we've said, we've had this year we've had a huge amount of layoffs in the industry. Typically, there has been a lot of partner folk that have been taken out there. So when you think about trying to understand partner value and what partners actually need, The reality is that what we do today is we do this through a lot of one-on-one conversations, and it's the typical partner motion, which is we're going to recruit a partner. Let's understand what they do, but we don't go deep enough. So I think I did a post yesterday on LinkedIn where someone was asking, when you think about tech partnerships and you think about channel partnerships, what's the difference when it comes to trying to understand what they actually need? And I gave 3 key points that you can use. So the first thing is actually get the partner to explain to you what their vision is for their business. So, like, what are they trying to do with their business? Not this quarter. I need some customers. It's what does your business look like in the next 18 to 24 to 36 months? So what is it that you are trying to achieve in your business? You need to try and get partners to open up about that particular piece. Now, I will make a point that not all partners are really super clear on that themselves, but it's a point of getting them to really explain what they see as their vision for their business. Right now, when we start to ask those particular questions, we move away from I'm trying to understand if there's partner potential because I can get some revenue from you, versus, what does this road look like? And as a partner person, what role am I going to play in the next 12, 24, or 36 months? So that's the first thing. Get them to explain their vision and download their vision to you. The second thing is get to understand how they think about their customer. So this is really, really important. We think about going to market with partners. Get them to explain to you what they think or how they think about their customer, who their customer is, what problems they solve for their customer, and what makes them different. Why we want to do that, these really simple questions, is really understand and articulate what does the partner know about their customer. Are they really targeted? Are they really niched? Or are they really broad? Because when I take conversations to the partner from a partnering point of view, I'm going to be looking for, I want to sell to these type of agencies, and I'm looking for partners that can do this. This conversation will either put that partner in that box, or they'll put this partner in this generalist box as well. And then the third thing you want to understand is actually, how does this partner actually go to market? So do they go to market? What's their sales process? So write out your 3 to 7 steps for your sales process. And importantly, how do you create demand for your products or solutions? And when you think about that conversation is, number one, the partner at the center. But what it's actually doing is it's highlighting for channel and partnership folk. It's really highlighting just what the potential of this partner is. Is their vision clear enough that they know where they're taking their business? I can work with that because I can align what the value that we can bring to helping them be successful. Number 2, do they understand their customer? Well, actually, if they don't understand their customer, it's going to be hard for me to get them to go, I want you to focus in mining and heavy industry to sell this particular product, when the partner is not focused around there. And the third thing is, I want them to generate revenue for me. So are they going to be someone who's expecting me to throw them leads, or are they going to be able to generate their own demand, and I can actually help escalate and elevate that demand with our programs through partner marketing, our MDF funds, or our go-to-market funds as well. So those are the types of conversations that are so much more richer than what we see a lot today of, here's the partner plan, just please fill this in for me, fill in the one page and tell me what you need, right?
Right. And I think that the conversations, to the degree that they focus on metrics or KPIs, are much more narrow. Like, what are your KPIs as a person? And then what are you trying to accomplish in the next quarter? Let's set goals for that, versus taking that step back and really understanding the business, which I think adds a lot of value for that trust experience, but also for making coherent plans to move forward that are more specific if you align on the bigger picture first. Now, is that approach scalable in any way to longer tail partners, or does that approach really have to be limited to strategic and kind of that top tier of partners that you're going to have high touch one-on-one conversations with, or do you think that can work more broadly?
It absolutely can more broadly, and that's probably the reason why we have this long tail, is that we only focus those conversations on our more strategic partners that are revenue generating, that we want to build close go-to-market or close relationships with. And what we do with the long tail, as we kind of, let's call them the non-producing partners, is we kind of go, well, that's a programmatic motion. That's a sign up to the partner program and follow the bouncing ball. You might have a customer or partner success person that phone you, but the reality is we need you to get to a particular point before we'll invest in these types of conversations. So the first thing is we need to flatten that, and we need to, if we put the partner experience and the partner in the middle, it doesn't really matter whether they are producing or in the long tail. We need to treat each partner in that same vein. It doesn't mean we give them the same resources, but we need to really be clear in understanding that. So the point of, can you do this programmatically? Absolutely, you can. But I think that this is, and how do I know you can do that? Because we've done it at Partner Elevate. So our benchmarking and impact, the first part of our program where you identify your growth segments, is something we do at scale and programmatically. So 50 to 100 partners in a 90-minute session that are using both a planning and organizing tool, and then that's forming in a benchmark and a growth segment report for vendors. So absolutely it can be done, but you need to be sort of positioning things in a very specific way. What doesn't give you the results is when you put your plan that you want the partner to fill out on a page, and you say, fill that out. And why is that sometimes the most dangerous thing that I see you can do in trying to understand partner value and understand where partners are focused, is in the back of the mind of the partner, they are thinking, this is the template that's going to give me your attention and focus, and is potentially going to give me the investment that I need to help grow my business. So I'm thinking, I've got to fill it in a certain way, give you a certain point of view, so you go, oh, you're interesting, and we want to invest in you.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. And so you're saying that this can be scaled. Did I hear correctly that those questions are essentially asked in what is the group session? So there's some level of feeling that personalization touch, but it's manageable because it's not one-to-one.
That's correct. Yeah. So the piece is, what we always want is, you want someone like, I mean, it's the problem it's a communication problem, which is, tell me what your problem is so I can help know whether I can solve it, and then I'll tell you how I can solve it, versus I'm going to come tell you what we can do, and then I don't really land up solving your particular problem. Context is everything. And what we found in working with partners at scale is that when you ask a question with the right context, you get a really different answer than without context. So as an example, I'll give you an example. You're sitting down planning with a partner, and you say, what are your revenue numbers for this year? And what is a profit that you need to achieve? The question is automatically, number one, I have to have a certain revenue for you to be interested in working with me or prioritized in your program. And profits, I need to be profitable. Now, those are just general questions, but how that plays out is that immediately we don't have the context of why we're asking the question. What we're trying to ask the question is we want some more context. So if you take that question and you set that aside and you ask it in a way that is all about, well, tell me what your goal is in 3 years' time for your business. Tell me what it looks like. What does it look like money-wise? What does it look people-wise? What does it look in your market? Are you in one market geographically? What do you want to be known for? That type of description gives us a completely different view than just tell me what revenue number is. And when you have the context around that, you can be really more specific about what you can actually help with. If that makes sense.
I think that makes perfect sense, and the framing around that is great, because I think the intention of the revenue question is straightforward, but you're 100% correct that from the partner perspective, they're going to look at it as trying to focus on persuasion of you rather than just having transparency in what the truth of the matter is.
Yeah, and, absolutely. Yeah.
So we have a question from the chat. Interested in hearing more about how one can investigate what is going wrong with these inactivated partners. I think that's a good call out, right? Most programs today, if you just look at a program, there's a bunch of partners that are pretty much inactive, right? They joined the program and now they're pretty dormant. At that stage, it sounds like one thing you would recommend is like framing the right questions to get the right information and essentially just going back out to them. Maybe the questions in an ideal world you would have asked in the first place, but any other tactics? And also, what does that look like practically in terms of, okay, I'm a partnership leader. I know I have, 80 to 90% of my partners potentially are inactive. What do you do? How do you actually operationalize that?
Yeah, I mean, that is a good question. So I'm just going to read it again. So I've got the context about how can you investigate what is going wrong with these inactivated partners. I think don't worry about what's going wrong with them. Go ask them, what is it they need to be successful? So don't focus on what is going wrong with them, because there's a lot of things we can't control. We can't control how a partner runs their business. We can't control how a partner operationalizes their business. We can't control how they sell. But what we can control is what we can do to help them. But they need to be able to tell us. So first of all, don't focus on the what's going wrong. Just have the conversation with your partner. What do you need from us to be successful? That's the first thing. The second thing is, why do partners, if you think about this inactivated partners, is we kind of treat this as a hunting or fishing ground for potential. We kind of go, well, they must like us because they bought something or sold something of us. So when we need partners, we're going to dip in and kind of try do a few things that kind of gets them activated again. And you probably will get a few that will jump up. So you might throw a campaign, you might throw some MDF funding, you might throw an incentive, but all that's going to do is give you a very short blip in what those particular partners actually need. I think when you look at your long tail, this revenue generating piece, you probably are going to see a couple of things here. The first thing you're going to see is that, first of all, these partners have probably not got a good understanding of what you can do to help them be successful, first of all. The second thing is you're probably going to look at those partners and they've come in and out of your program. They've come in at one end and then they've kind of lost interest or lost focus, and then they've come back again and you've said, well, you're actually a partner that's at this particular tiering, so we need you to start again at this particular area. Super frustrating and super trust breaking for absolutely trust breaking for partners. So yes, we can go get quick wins, but we're not activating the partner. Yes, we can go and ask the partner, throw things at them and try get them to show interest and focus. But all we're doing is we kind of are, it's like a washing machine. Our inactive partners, they're just going to move around. So if we want to really make a change, if you want to look at these inactive partners and make a wholesale change, we need to really, we really need to understand where is the potential in that particular partner peak. Which partners have potential that we can actually work with? So those 3 questions that I mentioned earlier is a great way to start to think about how do you just see where some of your particular partner potential is. The second thing is, I would say, if you look at your long tail, you really need to be treating that long tail or this unproductive as part of your partner motion. And what I mean by is you actually need to stop investing only in the top end, and you need to start spreading some of the investments across this long tail, because the challenge is that you kind of almost are giving them a mountain to climb, putting the carrot on the top of the mountain, or the money at the top of the mountain, but you're not giving, they don't actually have a way to get there. They don't have a way to build their go-to-market. They don't have a way to get clear on what their business needs. They don't have a way to operationalize their business better. So if they don't have a way to do that, then the reality is you either have to provide a way in your partner programs for that, or you need to get external help in to try and do that for them.
So before we get into the provide away, which I think is a very interesting question for people, what about removing people from the program, right? So to what degree is, if when you have these long tail, if it is 80 or 90% of your partners, and you do say you have those group sessions, you ask those questions, you get a better understanding of where everyone's coming from. To what degree is part of the problem here that people are letting people into their programs that really, no matter what enablement you give them, it's not going to be a win-win. And if that's the case, if there's a reasonable number, should organizations find a way to respectfully and not burning the relationship, exit people from the program, or certainly not let more in of that profile, in order to focus their resources on the rest, right? Because everyone has limited resources. So if you have these, say, 200 extra partners who are just never going to be able to produce anything meaningful in terms of a win-win for both organizations, should companies look to sort of say, hey, this is what we're looking for in our program. Break up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. You've got to break up with him. No, respectfully, there are a lot of businesses that fall in this gap of this unproducing long tail, and I think we have to be conscious of what it looks like on the other side. We've got technology entrepreneurs who are trying to run a business, whether it be a services business, a MSP business, a channel partner, product business, and they're struggling. Everyone thinks that partners are profitable. I would say that less than 30% of the 1,300 partners that have been through our programs are actually making a profit. And when I say are making a profit, that gets them ahead. And I think we need to be conscious. We need to be conscious of that. So, do we need to break up with them? Yeah, I think we need to do it. We're going to have to change the way we help those particular partners. But I think what we need to do is reset expectations right up front. And when people come into the program, we need to set what the bar is. Yes, we have partner tiering. Partner tiering and those types of nuances in how we measure success of a partner. Well, we need you to get these technical capabilities. We need you to have this much revenue, and we need you to be able to sell more than one of our particular products to be at a particular tier. I think what we need to do is set the expectation a lot earlier in terms of what we are looking for from partners, in terms of what do we want partners to do. But we're not super clear with partners up front. Why? Because we're thinking about the partner potential will come through how they engage with us. We're going to give them a quick one, or we're going to throw them something. This give mentality is probably the thing that I think destroys a lot of partner experience today, because the give mentality kind of says, we're going to give you things, and then we need you to prove things along the way. The reality is that we need to be super clear up front. What does a partner look like that we engage with in certain motions within our business? So if we do this in tech partnerships quite well. In order for you to be a tech partner with us, you need to have one integration. You need to be on these in a marketplace. You need to have a team that can do X, Y, and Z. When we think of sell through or sell with partnerships, we don't typically do that. We just go, do you want to sell this particular product? Yes, you do. Okay, into our partner program. And then we use the partner experience as a way to kind of, are they the right partner? Are they the partner that's going to give us what we need? And will we get the value that we need out the other side? And that kind of completely destroys that whole experience, because the partner view is that I need you to help grow my business. And for that, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. The channel partner or the partnership person is thinking, I need you to help me grow revenue and grow market share. And my expectation is that you're going to do these kinds of things for me. But we don't set that expectation up early enough before they actually enter our program. And we think, well, after we've onboarded them, we're going to then shoot them off to, you're going to work with this team, because this customer success team, because you can't generate revenue for us. So we need you to go and jump through 45 different hoops before we get to the point. And the partner's going, but hang on, I just need you to help grow my business. Like, that's the way you need to, that's why I'm partnering with you.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that most undermine trust is misaligned expectations, which often come from unspoken expectations. And then when there's a clash later, right, it's very undermining. But another thing that you see in the market a lot is partner programs start, right, and they're often very loosey-goosey, not programatized. The company themselves doesn't know exactly what they're looking for, so they certainly can't communicate it to the partners. But then as that organization starts to mature, I do think that they should and need to have those conversations to partners that maybe are no longer a good fit. So I'd still love to hear how you maintain, because the thing is, those partners may later be a good fit, right? It's not in perpetuity that they might not be able to come up with that win-win. But how do you, and maybe this is extended broadly, right? Like, how do you communicate bad news, whether it's coming from the fact that your program is now getting serious and the partner can no longer meet the expectations, or maybe you just failed to communicate them in the first place. But either way, is there a way to mitigate the loss of trust when you have to go to a partner and say, you're not a good fit? Or, for example, in tech partnerships, right? Sometimes the product changes and the platforms build things that become competitive with a partner, or even worse, they deprecate an API. That means the integration is no longer going to work. These are hard conversations, right? And especially in times of uncertainty, I think they have to crop up even more as organizations are forced to themselves scale back their resources. So, for example, a lot of partner teams that were cut because of the macroeconomic conditions right now. Many of the go-to-market stuff that you were going to do with a partner won't be able to do it right now. And I think, people understand that. But yeah, what's your advice for having those conversations in a way that keeps the partner experience as positive as possible and keeps the trust as high as possible, given it's bad news?
Yeah, look, delivering bad news isn't great. It reminds me of, and just in the chat, there's a question in, can your long tail partner remain your IPP? So it's kind of like in that particular question as well. Your ideal partner profile is just a view of what you are looking for. At some particular point, just like a customer, your customer may no longer be relevant to what you can do for them. In the partnership world, I think we saw this. I remember Microsoft. I think it was when I was at Microsoft. I think in 2013 they tried to make this radical change to. No, actually it was 2017, somewhere around there. They try to make this radical change to partners. They kind of going, look, we've got this partner program. It's the biggest partner program in the world. Hundreds of thousands of partners, but we've got gold partners, we've got silver partners, we've got bronze, and we pretty much have the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule playing out there. And what they really needed to do is they had a technology-driven partner program in terms of how they valued partners. And what they really wanted to do is they really wanted to say to partners, look, we can't keep telling you that we need you to move from a services-based business to a consumption-based business, and we need you to move from a product, a transactional business to an IP-based business, because that's kind of where we're heading. If you haven't seen this, we've been talking about it for the last 6 or 7 years. And the reality is that they kind of said, how we're going to break up with you is we're just going to say, from next quarter, this is our new partner program, and you either fit in or you fit out. And it went, I think I was in Orlando, and they announced this at the Worldwide Partner Conference, and all of a sudden the internet kind of went down, and we've got all these partners, 30,000 partners at this conference, and they're like, I just see these daggers being pointed at me, like, am I not relevant to your business and everything like that? So how you communicate it, do you need to break up or do you need to set the bar? Absolutely, you need to set the bar, but you need to be able to communicate that in a particular way. And I think they didn't do that right the first time. Now that they have moved their solutions program, I think it's about 18 months now, I think they've communicated it in a different way, and they've allowed partners to be able to move towards what they want them to do. So, yep, absolutely. You've got to set the bar, but then communicate clearly to your partners why you've set the bar like that and what that means for their business, i.e., how they can either get there or how they need to make a decision that's where that particular investment is. I think the challenge there, which we don't have control of in channel, is how does a partner interpret what that means for their particular business? And I think that this is really where clarity around how you deliver that news needs to be super, super clear. And we saw this with Microsoft's current changes. I know I know Canalys is tracking all the partner program changes, but I'll talk about the Microsoft one. And one of their particular requirements is that you need to be adding net new customers every 12 months, over a 12-month period. And what this actually means well, okay, that's fine. I'm a partner. I need to get new customers. Yeah, I've got to do this. But the underlying challenge here is that you've got to be doing this every month for 12 months and every month for the next 12 months for the rest of your life. And when you think about a partner business, about generating net new customers every single month, it's a challenge for 90% of the partners because they don't have the structure of demand generation, customer acquisition, and all of those sorts of things. So there's things we can't control, but absolutely setting the bar. I would always argue that you need to set the bar and be clear on what the bar is, and then give partners the chance to get there. So it's expectations, employee expectations. When I'm having a review with someone in my team, if I haven't set the bar of what an acceptable role, acceptable behavior is, how can I hold them accountable? But if I set the bar, make it super clear, and then give them a chance to actually get there and help them get there in the support that I can give them, then at a point in time, I can be, well, actually, we're giving you the chance you haven't got yet, and then I can feel confident that I've done the right thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to circle back to something you were talking about earlier, which is that when a partner starts the conversation, they already have an impression and a brand of you. So where does the partner experience start? Because when we think about the customer, right, we have whole brand marketing teams and community teams that their job is to essentially assure that when they make contact with the organization, they have a positive impression, because, right, that makes it easier on the salesperson. In the partner context, it would make it easier on the partner acquisition person if the person came to the conversation already feeling good about the organization. Should partner teams be thinking about that? Is that too much for most people? Because, right, our partner program set up to really think too hard about that side of it. But what are your thoughts? Is that a part of the partner experience? Is it an important part of the partner experience? And if so, what should organizations do to try to optimize it?
Look, I think it's got to be in the DNA of the partner program. It's absolutely got to be in the DNA of the partner program. And I think the challenge. And let's talk about SaaS-based companies, because we are, this is a lot of the audience. When we think about this, when SaaS-based companies, when they are looking to now grow, they've had a direct motion. They've kind of got product market fit. They've got some consistency of sales. Now they've got a truckload of money that's coming their way, and it's like, there we go, we're going to grow. We're going to grow our market share, and we're going to do this to a partner. Typically what I see that whole messaging and the whole value of the offering kind of go, well, this worked for our customer. Now I'm going to take that, I'm going to put this in partner world. And really, it's the same value they would give a customer, is the same value that partners are going to see in what we actually do for them. And the reality, it's not. Because yes, you solve an end user problem, and you've got customer references and you've got customer experiences to draw on. But the reality is, the way a partner looks at your technology is, yes, you solve a problem for the customer, but really for them, it's really about how do you help them succeed? How does this technology help them succeed? Does it help differentiate them? Does it help generate them more revenue, because the technology takes a whole set of people out of a particular process to deliver an outcome for a customer, and we can now use technology with a piece of license around it, and I can create my own IP. And what I don't see a lot of is actually that just stopping to think about, well, why are we relevant to this particular partner? Not in a way that we help the end customer, but we actually help their particular business with what it is they need to achieve. So I think that it's super important that we relook at what the value prop of our product or our offering, particularly in SaaS, is for a partnership as opposed to a customer, because they are two very, very different things.
Yeah, so I think that we've covered a few different things in terms of the partner experience, creating trust. One is setting expectations, being transparent, but also really going in deeper to understand the partner and then providing a way forward, right? Whatever that looks like for the different partners. Are there other things that we didn't cover about the partner experience that you think really are a keystone in creating trust between you and the partners?
Um, no, look, I don't think there's anything we haven't covered. I would just go, if we think about like for me, the trust is a result of, it's kind of the result of the value that you can bring. But trust is more important around awareness and the mind share that you have. And I think that those are two things that I think are critically important when you think about how you're building trust through that particular partner experience. So the awareness and mind share, the awareness is not so much the awareness of you as an organization, but more awareness of that the partner's aware of how they can use what you've got to offer to help them be successful. And I think that then with this awareness comes this mind share. And the more mind share that we can actually have with our partner, obviously the more relevant our partner program is, more relevant our conversations are with the partner, and the more relevant the investments that we want to make into the partnership can be understood by the partner as well. So I think that awareness and trust is the awareness and the mind share is something that's actually built up over time. But it can't just start when you're ready to invest with them or in them. It's actually got to start right at the front part of the particular program of why partner with us.
Yeah, and for the long tail of partners, when we look at our more strategic partners, right, often trust really develops on the human level, right? So you know the partner manager, the person you're interacting with, you go out to dinner when you go to these partner events or like an industry-specific event, and that really creates a rapport and it create a very much positive impression. But when we look at the scaled partners, the replacement would probably be things like community events, right? Like things that aren't one-to-one, but are scalable. Swag, for example, like these softer things that don't necessarily themselves have a hard outcome of them. Are those things valuable to layer into the partner experience so that the long tail feels that engagement that you can't spend the same hours that you can spend with strategic partners?
Absolutely. Don't forget about, like, just treat every partner with the same lens. You don't have to, like, treating partners the same is not the same as helping partners that have different needs, right? So it's like just treat every partner the same. But in the out of the strategic, it's the they've got a whole bunch of different needs and they need to be met a different way. Community is absolutely critical. Swag, I mean, look, I even love going to an in-person conference and getting a bag of swag. I mean, everyone likes a bit of swag, right? So those little things, not to discount those, they matter. They absolutely matter to partners throughout. But at the end of the day, the conversation with a partner, if you put that partner in front and center, can be a lot more enriching than just thinking about dropping a $50 Visa card if they refer someone to you or something like that.
Yeah, that feels much more transactional.
Yeah.
So I know we're coming up on time soon, and this is probably a huge question, but would love to get your thoughts on the role of technology in facilitating the partner experience and partner journey. Because, something when we ran a report last year on partner ops, we definitely saw organizations that have programs and organizations that are using partner technology are driving more revenue from their partners. And obviously there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but I think it's something top of mind for everyone is we have these partner tech companies that are rapidly maturing and evolving and adjusting. And what's your take on sort of leveraging those tools in order to enhance the partner experience?
Look, those tools are absolutely critical. What I would say is, what's the tools like? I think the tool purpose, like what are we trying to do? What's the tool actually? Why are we getting partners to actually use a particular tool is much about what do we need to see? What visibility do we actually need to see? And a lot of it is how we measure our partner success. So we measure our partner enablement through areas like, how they're interacting with our tools, how they are using our white papers, or how they're using our marketing assets, our marketing box, all of those sorts of things. Absolutely critically important, because not every partner has the skills and capability or the tools to do the things that that larger, more strategic partners can actually do. Like, let's just take through partner marketing. The reality is, it's not the point of through partner marketing is not to get the partner to be in a digital, not to get a partner into a digital marketing campaign, right? That's not the point. The point is we're going to help the partner either differentiate, grow their brand, or grow their customer base. If that's the intention, then through partner marketing makes sense. But the reality is, if I'm measuring a partner on whether they've accessed the through partner marketing portal and they've actually activated a campaign, if I'm a partner on the other side and the measurement is, if I get that, I get some MDF dollars, I'm going to sit there and put something out there and say, look, I've done it. But the reality is that it hasn't really helped my business. It hasn't really helped the partnership move forward. So tools and technology, absolutely critical. And there's some great way in which we're unlocking opportunity in partnerships today with the tools like Reveal and Crossbeam and all of that. I mean, it is revolutionizing the way opportunities are identified and opportunities are prosecuted. But I would always say that the tool, there's got to be clarity for why you want the partner to use the tool. And if you want them to use the tool, give them the opportunity to understand how the tool needs to be used as well.
Yeah, agree. So we only have 1 minute left. Want to give you any final thoughts that you wanted to throw out there before we sign off?
Final thoughts: partner experience, partner journey. Put the partner at the center. Like, there's this, I don't know, can I do a heart? Like, there's the partner, like, put the partner at the center. Okay, it's their need. Make them want to work with your program because you can help them be successful, right? So put the partner at the center, and everything that you do around that piece, from the first interaction that you have with them to the award that you give them because they're the top partner, has got to be all about them. That would be it.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time today. And thanks for the Cloud Software Association for hosting us. And please join. If you're not already a member, you can find Desmond and I both on LinkedIn. We are both active, so please feel free to connect with us. Thanks for everyone who came live today.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. Catch ya.